What's the good word, y'all? It's your boy DKB here. We're diving into day 4 of New York Jets training camp. It's going to be the final practice without pads on, and this is the day where the defense locked back into that potential number 1 defense elite, maybe historical territory that we've seen, right? And even with the news being slow, between a lot of the video clips that I've seen, it definitely seemed accurate. Anybody not named Garrett Wilson seemed like they kind of had the clamps on them, lockdown coverage. Quarterbacks were pretty much running for their lives all day. And so this is exactly what you want to see with this defense is elite coverage on the back end, ferocious pass rush up front is what we're built for, and then you have the linebackers with the sideline to sideline coverage, just making the middle of the field an obsolete zone for people. So some of the generic news out there, Jermaine Johnson, John Simpson, they got into a bit of a scuffle. Heard it ended pretty quickly. Then there was an interesting bit where Garrett Wilson and Aaron Rodgers got into a bit of an argument, right? And it ended up with a dap and, I guess them getting back to work. But this is a huge step up from a lot of the commentary we got last year where guys were more locked into listening to Aaron Rodgers and trying to implement the advice right away, whereas now you can tell the level Garrett Wilson holds himself up to, that you would even feel comfortable being able to debate, or in this case at least have a bit of a spirited argument with Rodgers about whatever it is they were seeing on the field that I would assume didn't go in the favor of the New York Jets offense. We got some health updates. Brandon Echols, rib contusion, doesn't seem serious. They're going to reevaluate him Monday. And then we had some signings just before this training camp. UFL MVP quarterback Adrian Martinez and quarterback Kendall Sheffield, formerly of the Atlanta Falcons, previously was on Ohio State as well. And I think there may have been some overlap with Garrett Wilson there. And then Mike Williams, we got a chance to see him running some routes against air, getting some catches. There's kind of been light talk about him being ahead of schedule, so maybe we see him within the next couple of weeks. Breece Hall, I think, was active in the middle of August last year, so if they're on the same timeline, that makes about sense. In terms of on-field updates, DJ Reed, he's as good as a number 2 that you're going to find. I really do appreciate having him on this roster. However, shades of what we saw last year versus guys like CeeDee Lamb, for example, seem to give him mismatch nightmares, right? He's victimized by Garrett Wilson pretty consistently throughout practice whenever they were matched up with each other. Aaron Rodgers seems to like that matchup that he has when Garrett Wilson's on that side of the field. Allowed a long touchdown, allowed a couple other catch and runs that went for big plays. And DJ Reed highlighted as well that Rodgers and Garrett Wilson are kind of in a different zone when it comes to their chemistry, knowing that if the initial route doesn't work, they're able to shift and kind of adjust immediately on the fly to the next plan of attack within that play, right? So exactly what I love to hear. Then, McDonald, he got himself a sack. Jermaine Johnson, I heard multiple guys quoting that he was able to outduel Tyron Smith on this day, which would be a first out of all the practices they've had a chance to go again. So I love hearing that. And then Tack McKinley, probably the defensive MVP right now when it comes to pass rushers. And again, pump the brakes ever so slightly, but I think he has about 6 so far in the handful of practices he's been able to participate in since we signed him and got him into training camp. Allen Lazard still having positive momentum, got himself a touchdown during red zone drills, made a good sideline grab on a broken play with Rodgers. So that chemistry piece is coming alive where they've had so many repetitions of things together. If things aren't working at first glance, Allen Lazard can already kind of mimic the thought process that Rodgers would be looking for and where to go, where to be at. Brandon Lee, we finally get some news from him. He had himself a pretty active day within the offense, had himself a good catch over the middle versus Stigers, who's had a great start to his training camp. Jamian Sherwood had a pass breakup versus Rodgers, and then Carter Warren, there was an interesting bit of information I've seen here, and I don't know how accurate it is, but had his first starting right tackle reps of the offseason with Morgan Moses still working through his rehab. So we'll see what the plan is there, right? Some of the news about Max Mitchell starting over Carter Warren a couple of days ago was already a surprise in and of itself. But him finally getting to the starting rotation, he's really just been soaking up and listening to Tyron Smith, from my understanding, and essentially being able to go out there and take another redshirt year, right? If things work according to plan, that was what's supposed to happen for him last year. It didn't really occur. So at this point, the depth has improved so much. And the individual pieces for the offensive line that I think even if you are having a weak link or even two, you're seeing the other guys be able to pick up the slack and really help benefit the rest of the line overall. And then with these repetitions, with this just availability for a lot of these different offensive line combinations to work together as needed, whether that's an emergency, break the glass situations or not, can only be a huge plus. So I'm excited going forward. First padded practice, we can really start figuring out who's taking a step forward or not when it comes to trench warfare. And then I would imagine Rodgers is really going to kick the mental part of trying to decapitate this defense to another level. So let me know what you guys think. Finally wrapping up our non-padded practices here, and I'll catch you guys again. Peace.